Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. Tonight, you're looking at live pictures from Hanoi, Vietnam, in the northern part of the country. The president's there tonight. He's about to meet with the North Korean dictator, Kim Jong-un. We'll be monitoring that live. We'll expect a lot of movement in this hour. We'll play it to you as it happens. But first, a lot going on Capitol Hill today. The circus came to town. The president's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, testified for most of the daylight hours. Everybody carried it. You probably heard snippets in the Uber on the way to work. You've got a real job. So we watched every moment because we're paid to do that. And most of the day was devoted to the question of Trump's personal character. Now, people in Washington never tire of being shocked by what an incredibly bad man Donald Trump is. They're incredibly good people, and they can just hardly believe his flaws. They sat open-mouthed in the Congress today as Michael Cohen described his former boss, brace yourselves now, as a bit of a con man who has at times overstated his personal wealth. In private, Trump apparently has said offensive things. At one point, Michael Cohen claims Trump used a straw buyer to bid up a portrait of himself at a charity auction. He wanted his picture to go for the highest price. Whoa. Are you shocked yet? Can you believe it? Of course you can. This is exactly the man we knew back in 2015 when he descended the famous escalator. And yet millions of people voted for him anyway. His character was not the point. The point of today's hearings was not his character either. It was supposed to be Russian collusion and obstruction of justice. Those are the topics that have completely derailed the American government for the past 2 years. And on those subjects, we actually did learn quite a bit today. Here's one example. About a month ago, the cat blog BuzzFeed ran an article that claimed Trump had ordered Michael Cohen to lie to the Congress. That's a big deal. It's a crime. And so immediately the hysterics in the Congress and on cable news went bonkers. Impeachment, indictment, life in prison. But did that actually happen? Well, since Cohen was there in person, he was able to conclusively answer that question today, and he did. Watch.
Mr. Cohen, you stood before multiple congressional committees before today and raised your right hand and swore an oath to be honest. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you lied to those congressional committees. Is that correct?
Previously?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
You stated that Trump never directed you to lie to Congress. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it looks like Trump will not be going to jail for suborning perjury after all. Darn, foiled again. Look for a retraction in your latest edition of BuzzFeed. You'll find it just below the 15 cats that look like Ruth Bader Ginsburg listicle. Look carefully. But what about Russian blackmail? You've been hearing about that for years. Trump, they have told you again and again, has somehow been compromised by the Russians. And that's why he's been spying for them. Putin has something horrible and incriminating on Donald Trump. He must. A picture of the president in a Batman costume, maybe. Or a videotape with hookers doing something weird. Certainly Michael Cohen would know about that kind of thing. That's his world. Luckily, a sitting member of Congress asked Cohen about it directly today. Watch.
Are you aware of anything that the president has done at home or abroad that may have subjected him to or may subject him to extortion or blackmail?
I am not, no.
Okay. Are you aware of any videotapes that may be the subject of extortion or blackmail?
I've heard about these tapes for a long time. I've had many people contact me over the years. I have no reason to believe that that tape exists.
The great Jamie Raskin of suburban Maryland, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Mr. Raskin, for clearing that up. So the P-tape is not real. There goes the juiciest part of the Trump dossier, which you'll remember was yet another highly publicized scoop from, yes, BuzzFeed. Could be time to get back to those cat videos, fellas. But wait, what about the trip to Prague that Michael Cohen supposedly took? That was part of his collusion with the dark forces of the Russian Empire. That was in the dossier as well. BuzzFeed told us about it. Surely Cohen would admit it now. He's heading to prison. He's got nothing to lose. Well, Cohen was asked about that Prague trip today, and here's what he said.
Have you ever been to Prague?
I've never been to Prague.
Never have.
I've never been to the Czech Republic.
Yield my balance my time.
This is where it gets confusing. Never been to Prague. This is the point at which what they call the narrative starts to break down a little bit. If Michael Cohen never went to Prague, as BuzzFeed and Adam Schiff and the entire primetime lineup of MSNBC have told us repeatedly that he did, then how exactly did Michael Cohen collude with the Russians to steal the 2016 presidential election from its rightful winner, Hillary Clinton? Well, that's a good question, isn't it? Debbie Wasserman Schultz of Florida, as incisive an interviewer as the Democrats have, wondered that too. Here's the exchange.
Based on what you know, would Mr. Trump, or did he, lie about colluding and coordinating with the Russians at any point during the campaign?
So as I stated in my testimony, I wouldn't use the word colluding. Was there something odd about the back and forth praise with President Putin? Yes, but I'm not really sure that I can answer that question in terms of collusion.
Oh, wait, so there's no collusion, there's no Russian blackmail, there's no obstruction of justice. There are none of the things that our entire media class has spent the last 2 years huffing and speculating wildly about. Keep in mind that Michael Cohen is Trump's personal lawyer of 10 years. He now hates Donald Trump and would like to destroy him. He has said that again and again. If Michael Cohen had the dime, he would drop it. But he doesn't. There is nothing there. It was all a lie. Can we go home now? Nope. We've got 2 more days of stuff just like this. 2 more days of exchanges like this one, where members of Congress feel that they're not only dumber than you thought they were, but they're a lot creepier.
Can he be blackmailed because of his financial and business ventures, including by foreign governments?
Is there a love child?
There is not, to the best of my knowledge.
So you would.
Do you have any knowledge of President Trump abusing any controlled substances?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Do you have any knowledge of President Trump arranging any health care procedures for any women not in his family?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Is there a love child? Is he a dope head? Did he pay for abortions? No, 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 no. By the end, you start feeling kind of bad for Michael Cohen, honestly. He's not a genius. Anyone who knows him will affirm that. He's in his 50s now, and he's headed to prison. And that's a long way from where he expected to be. Cohen showed up in Washington 2 years ago, anticipating that he'd be the kind of guy, the kind of mover and shaker who'd be welcome at any restaurant in town. Part the seas for Michael Cohen. Now he's going to be eating sloppy joes off a metal tray with 1,000 other creeps in identical polyester uniforms in the lockup. So take the politics out of it for a minute if you can. Let's be honest, this is a sad story. Michael Cohen is a broken and desperate man, but nobody cares. Democrats cheered for his conviction on ludicrous, absurd campaign finance charges, as if paying off somebody's girlfriend is a campaign finance violation. It's laughable, but they don't care. Now they're squeezing whatever use they can out of Michael Cohen as he shuffles off to his cell. What do the rest of us get out of this? We learn that Trump is vain and vulgar. Okay. What do we do with that information? Is it supposed to make us support open borders, late-term abortion, the war in Syria, the Green New Deal? Will it make the drug epidemic go away? Will it make the suicide rate drop? Will it make housing affordable in the cities? What does it have to do with anything? Well, it doesn't have anything to do with anything. And that is exactly the point of it. That's why this is going on forever. The more time they waste yelping about Trump's charity auction scam in his naughty language in private, the less time they have to explain why they've run this country into the ground and gotten rich doing it. This is a distraction, and we are falling for it, for the record. Congressman Mark Green was at today's hearing, and he joins us now. Congressman, thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
So again and again, and I'm not defending the character of Michael Cohen. I'm not defending the character of anybody in Washington, actually, because why would I? He's clearly a liar. On the other hand, he said a bunch of things that he would have no reason to lie about. It seems like he would have every incentive, since he dislikes Trump so much. He would admit if he knew that Trump had a love child, a drug addiction, paid for an abortion, was colluding with the Russians, if the P-tape was real, all of this stuff. And he said it wasn't. So why is that not kind of significant?
No, I think it's a great point that he's, you know, the real story is what he didn't say today. You know, the things that you brought up in your monologue before and, you know, the P-tape and all this other stuff. I mean, we're not talking about that. He did talk about, you know, the accusations with the payoffs. And of course, you know, the buying of the painting, ridiculous stuff.
And
but
by the way, let me just say for the record, that buying and the painting thing sounds totally true to me. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, I have no idea. But that's
what difference does it make?
Something Trump would do. I think every Trump voter thinks that's something Trump would do. Like whatever.
Yeah. What difference does it make, right? I mean, it has nothing to do with what they are trying to do today. And the left is trying. The Democrats are trying to begin an impeachment process. They started with a fake dossier to get an FBI investigation going, and now they're starting with a fake witness to get the impeachment going. That's their agenda, and this is the best they've got. This is their star witness, a guy who lied on his bank loans, a guy who lied 5 times to the IRS, lied to Congress. I mean, their lead testimony to Congress is a guy who lied to Congress. It's the best they've got. And that's what they're trying to do.
I mean, I'm sincerely confused by this. So let's say you're having an extramarital affair, as many members of Congress do, as you know, and your girlfriend tries to extort money from you. I'm going to tell people unless you pay me. And you pay her. Is it a crime to crumble in the face of an extortion plot?
Actually, there are a lot of debates out there. Most people don't think it was a crime. And most people think that Michael Cohen probably didn't need to plead to that. That's what many people are saying. Many of the legal experts. You know, why he did, I don't know. But his other crimes are real.
But can I just ask, I mean, many members of Congress, we know for a fact, have paid off sexual harassment claims. Members of Congress are elected every 2 years, so every one of those would be a campaign finance violation, no?
Yeah, if they use campaign funds, absolutely.
No, but Trump didn't use private funds.
Yeah, as far as I know, the way it went down here, that's not. I mean, what Michael Cohen did is not a crime.
It's the whole thing is so nuts. Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on the show, Doug.
Michael Caputo is a former advisor to Donald Trump's presidential campaign. He knows Cohen well, of course, and he joins us tonight. Mr. Caputo, thanks very much for coming on. What did you make of this?
Well, I went as pretty much as I thought it would. I think if America were to get what we deserve, we'd see John Lovett as Michael Cohen on Saturday Night Live, the president of the Pathological Liars Association of America. But of course, we're not going to get that. The Democrats in Hollywood want us to believe Michael Cohen. But I saw 2 or 3 times in this hearing where Michael Cohen couldn't resist lying again. I mean, for example, when he talked about how it was his idea that President Trump run for president in 2011 for the 2012 cycle, that couldn't be further from the truth. There was a whole team put together by Roger Stone that was already in motion trying to get the president into the game when Michael Cohen came along and joined up on the team and started a group called something like Should Trump Run? And the reason he was given leadership of that group is because he promised President Trump that he would raise $2 to $3 million. At the end of that whole flirtation with the campaign, Michael Cohen had raised $16,000. So the idea that it was his, idea for the president to run in 2012 is a lie. He lied right to the committee's face. Again, and of course, we had that whole thing with his foreign contracts, and they're going to refer that for an investigation. I think they should refer for investigation his whole claim, this prideful claim, that it was his idea that the president run in 2012. It's preposterous.
So I've heard a lot today from Republicans about how Michael Cohen is lying, and I'm willing to believe anything, of course. But do you think that he was lying in the exculpatory statements, in effect, he made about the president, that none of these BuzzFeed theories are real, and he would know? Is he lying about that?
I don't know. I think the Congress has a heck of a job from yesterday, today, and the next couple of times he's in front of committees to sort through what's a lie and what's truth. And I think peppering your lies with a little dollop of truth is one of the best strategies of a pathological liar, right? So I think the Congress is going to have a tough time to figure out what Michael Cohen, what he's saying, whether it's a lie or whether it's truthful. And the idea that he's their star witness is really hilarious. It's just John Lovett. And by the way, Tucker, John Lovett looks like him. He sounds like him. They got to do it on Saturday night.
So can I just ask you why? I mean, you know him, I think, pretty well. I know him, actually. He always struck me as a little slow. I don't hate him or anything. But only a dumb person would plead to a campaign finance violation for paying off somebody's girlfriend. That's not a campaign finance violation. Why would he plead to that?
I think he's being told to do what he's doing. I think it's all about the Rule 35 that he talked about during his testimony today. Rule 35 is a motion that the prosecutors put in to reduce somebody's sentence for substantial assistance. And I've talked to a couple of former U.S. attorneys, real pipe swingers today, who said that what Michael Cohen is doing is selling a narrative, trying to get the public to buy off on it, so that, for example, the U.S. attorney, the special counsel's office can get Roger Stone for being on speaker speakerphone when anybody who knows Donald Trump and knows Roger Stone knows that would never happen. The president wouldn't put him on speakerphone any more than Roger Stone would let anyone listen into any of his conversations with the president.
That is true. I know that for a fact. No, that is totally true. You'd hate to think a prosecutor would be involved in a propaganda effort and the press would sort of nod along with
well, it's all this Rule 35 thing. Pay attention to that. It's Rule 35.
I get it.
He's in for 3 years.
I'm the only person in America who feels a little sorry for him, but I do. Mr. Caputo, thank you very much. Great to see you.
Thanks a lot, Tucker.
Michael Tracey is an independent journalist and a pretty wise man, we'd say. He joins us tonight. You've been following the Russia stuff since the very beginning. I think you're a liberal, by the way. I should just say that. But you've been skeptical about the Russia narrative, as they say on CNN. Did what you heard today change your view?
Absolutely not. In fact, it reinforced my view that much of what has been touted as smoking gun evidence of Russian collusion since the beginning of this sordid ordeal has actually not been borne out. You know, I think a line of questioning that was used by Representative Ro Khanna, who's an independent thinker, he's a Democrat, but
he is.
You know, you've had him on your show.
I like him.
Yeah, I think he actually had an interesting approach here. He speculated that perhaps the actual smoking gun in this whole episode was not anything to do with Mueller or Russia, but just garden variety financial fraud. Those were his words, you know, stemming from this hush money payment that Michael Cohen supposedly gave Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election, and the way that Trump and his associates repaid that payment to Cohen may have constituted some financial fraud. I don't know if that's true, but at least that's a rational mode of inquiry, and it's sensible. But what's not rational is the way that Democrats have approached this Russia matter, especially with regard to Cohen. I don't know if you've been following the coverage on the other networks and in the other media outlets, but they've been so excited that they've been trembling with glee about this revelation from Cohen that he apparently overheard a conversation between Donald Trump and Roger Stone sometime in late July 2016, where Stone apparently confided that he had a phone conversation with Julian Assange. And there's no independent evidence for that whatsoever. Mueller, as you know, just indicted Roger Stone last month on charges that relate to his claimed communications with WikiLeaks. And Mueller, who has access to all the pertinent phone records and every other record under the sun, made no mention of this supposed phone call that transpired on this date. I think Cohen said it was either July 18th or 19th, 2016. So either Mueller is a total failure in terms of his investigative prowess, or there's something else going on. I don't have to tell you, Tucker, but I think Roger Stone has developed a reputation, rightfully so, as a bit of a fabulist. And he's not always characterized his communications with WikiLeaks totally accurately. I think that may have been the case here. But you know,
he may go to prison for bragging. Right. I don't know, I'm laughing. Well, it's tragic. But yes, I think that's probably right.
So, I mean, that was the big takeaway. And if that's the big takeaway, then this whole narrative is on flimsier ground than even I thought from the beginning. And I always thought it was pretty darn flimsy.
Meanwhile, we're like moving toward war with a nuclear armed power that we have no cause to be an enemy of. The whole thing is bizarre. And by the way, I would say to any of our viewers who don't know who you are, Michael Tracey, that you're the one thing on Twitter worth reading, I would say. So thanks a lot for joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.